The Wrong Bride, The Right Heart. Previous episodes are available on playlist, a link is given in the video description. Episode 17. Chapter 180. Tilly, I stood beside Rylan, my hand holding his tightly as we looked through the crowd of people that gathered around the airport. I think this is his group here. Rylan informed me before kissing the top of my head sweetly. I don't know why I felt so nervous to meet Nolan, it's not like we haven't talked on the phone or anything, it just feels different in person. Maybe it's because I'm finally meeting another one of Rylan's family members and so far that hasn't gone too well. I mean, Jolie is nice, and Rylan's dad, but what if Nolan sees me and thinks I'm not good enough just like their mom did? At least that's my biggest fear. Oh my god, seriously, is that a man bun? Rylan muttered to himself, making my eyes dart to the left as a young man with blonde hair tied into a bun began walking towards us. Wow, he looked a lot like Rylan. Their resemblance was uncanny, only Nolan seemed to be shorter and not as muscular. His style though was very modern and drew the attention of everyone around him. That's when I saw his hazel eyes wander towards us before a wide smile pulled at his lips. Noel. Over here. Rylan said excitedly, waving his free hand as his brother picked up speed. I watched happily as Rylan rushed forward and practically tackled Nolan to the ground. I missed you. He rushed, the emotion in his voice causing my own to rise as I watched happily. I missed you too, it's good to be home. Nolan replied. What is up with this? Rylan teased, pulling at the bun on top of Nolan's head. What? I'm trying something new, okay, Nolan grumbled before his gaze flicked to me. So? Are you going to introduce me to my sister-in-law or? Rylan pulled back before letting out a laugh. Of course, I just had to get all the mushy stuff out of the way first. Come here baby, come meet Nolan. Rylan added, reaching his hand out for me as I took a tentative step forward. Hi, it's nice to, I began, but before I could even finish, Nolan pulled me into a hug, surprising not only me but Rylan as well. It's great to finally meet you. Nolan rushed before wrapping me into a tight hug. Since when did you become a hugger, little bro? Rylan mumbled as a flash of annoyance crossed his face. You know, spiritual healing and all that shit, there's lots of hugging involved. Nolan added before winking as Rylan finally pulled him off of me. That's what we are going with, hey. He muttered under his breath and tucked me into his side. I can't believe you two are married, mom might really lose her shit with this one. Nolan added, ignoring Rylan as he looked me up and down happily. Who would have thought you were capable of pulling a dime? Nolan added and swiftly dodged a smack across the head from Rylan. What? It's a compliment. What does he mean, baby? I asked Rylan discreetly as Nolan laughed, not knowing what dime meant. I'm not up on the trends, okay? He is saying you're a very beautiful woman, but in a way. Rylan explained before tightening his hold on me. Come on, let's go before I decide to leave you behind. Rylan grumbled while reaching for Nolan's shoulder and shoving him forward playfully. We finally got to the car a few minutes later as Rylan went to put Nolan's suitcase in the trunk. That's when Nolan stepped closer to me before speaking quietly. I don't think I have ever seen my brother this happy before. He whispered, making my eyes widen as I looked over at him. Really? I asked, feeling like Rylan actually seemed more annoyed than anything. Especially the way his gaze kept darting towards us. I don't know what was going on with him. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm annoying the shit out of him right now, but I can see it. That darkness isn't there anymore. He explained, causing my brow to furrow as Rylan slammed the trunk loudly before racing over to us. What darkness was Nolan talking about? I don't think I have ever seen a darkness in Rylan. Was that even possible? Ready to go? He asked before placing his hand on my lower back possessively. Yep, totally looking forward to seeing Jamie in person for the first time since I made a complete of myself. Nolan added sarcastically as Rylan slapped him on the back. You know he has already forgiven you for that stuff, Noel. He is hyped to see you. Rylan reassured him, and I wasn't exactly sure what they were talking about, and I thought it would be rude to ask. Rylan opened the passenger door before practically shoving me inside. He must have known I was about to offer my seat to Nolan. He just got back from being away for weeks. He deserved the front seat at least. Don't even think about it. Rylan grumbled. I just let out a sigh and didn't argue while Rylan buckled me in, forcing me to be what he calls a passenger princess. He made me this way though. After kissing me a couple more times, he ran over to the driver's side and slid in. Okay, where to first? Burgers at Frank's? Rylan asked, glancing back at Nolan as I heard him groan. Oh God, yes, I've only been eating raw vegetables for a month straight. I swear next time I'm letting Dad pick the rehab center. Next time. Rylan scoffed, shooting his brother a glare. Hey, I'm just being realistic here. Nolan added before lifting his hands and smirking. Noel. I'm joking, geez, where did your sense of humor go? Nolan grumbled, and I reached over, taking Rylan's hand. I could see he was a little stressed about all of this, and I know his brother is just trying to make things light, but I feel the seriousness of it all rising. I'm hoping this time will be different, Noel. We are going to do things how we should have from the start. Keep your contact with Mom limited and no more clubs. Rylan added, causing Nolan to go quiet as I just stared out of the window. I didn't want him to feel embarrassed or anything. I know. It will be I promise. I know I said that before, but I feel different this time, like I'm not going to pretend everything is perfect anymore. I still struggle every day, but I'm also going to be smart about it, okay? So just try to relax, lighten up, and don't take it too seriously. You're stressing me out more. Nolan grumbled, and that's when Rylan let out a deep breath he must have been holding. You're right, but maybe stop flirting with my wife and annoying me on purpose, that might help. Rylan snapped, making Nolan burst into laughter before leaning forward and looking between us. Can't make any promises. I already told Jamie I would do my worst. Nolan said with the biggest grin, making Rylan gasp. He told you to lay it on thick, didn't he? Nolan just shrugged and sat back in his seat while Rylan shook his head in disbelief. That's when he turned to me. I might have egged Jamie on a little when he first met Gabriella, you know, harmless flirting and annoying out of him. Rylan explained as I couldn't help but frown. Why would you do that? I asked, making Rylan's cheeks redden as Nolan cackled in the back seat. Because he was an ass. It was just funny to me, okay? I get it now though, so you can knock that shit off. Rylan muttered, making me shake my head in disbelief. Nope, not a chance. Why do I feel like these two are going to be bickering all the time at home? I won't lie though, it's nice seeing Rylan like this and it makes me fall more in love with him. Even if he did used to be an ass. Rylan, I don't think I'm doing this right. Nolan grumbled, his gaze glued to the tie that was now a knotted mess. Do you think you can help a guy out till? Nolan asked my beautiful wife, who just so happened to walk into the room. Here, let me see. She said sweetly, stepping towards him and untying the black fabric before fixing it for him. Thanks sis, I appreciate it. Nolan whispered, his gaze darting to mine before winking. I have never wanted to punch someone so badly in my life. Yep, it's official, I'm going to murder the prick. Nolan has been here for 3 days and I'm done. I could have helped. I gritted through my teeth, letting my gaze drag up and down Tilly's gorgeous back before settling on her. She looked like a goddess, and at first, I was annoyed my mom made this a black tie event, but now, I can't argue with it. Especially if it gives me an excuse to spoil my wife and watch her try on dozens of dresses. We finally settled on a satin sage green gown that made her eyes glow and how it flowed down her body, hugging those perfect tits and those hips. I've been hard all morning because of it. Of course Nolan is around every corner, making that pretty much impossible. I think Jamie coming over the other night actually made things worse. But I won't lie, it was nice being together again, and I did get to tell him the news about Tilly and I. It went as well as it could. Wait, did you say married? You too? Jamie mumbled, glancing towards the kitchen where Tilly was making something to eat. I think she really just wanted to give the three of us time to catch up. She is so incredible and thoughtful. I know it was a heat of the moment thing. With her family not exactly believing my intentions and my mom being, well, her slow-fi just didn't want any bullshit to interfere with that. I could see Jamie was a little hurt by this, and I can't blame him. I was Jamie's best man for his wedding after all, and he definitely would have been mine. Did you know about this? Jamie asked Nolan, who nodded before sipping on his sparkling water. We made sure to empty the house of any alcohol just to be safe right now. I didn't want a single temptation to be around Nolan. He called me on the way to the airport. He shrugged, making me wince as I saw the anger now cross Jamie's face. Really, did he now? He muttered before letting out a scoff and shaking his head in disbelief. You had a lot going on, okay, and truthfully, I felt like you might try to talk me out of it. I grumbled the last part. Jamie just stared at me for a few moments before his gaze darted towards Tilly in the kitchen. Of course she was doing the most adorable thing ever. We all watched as she danced to some type of music she was listening to before bending down and taking the hot food out of the oven. I don't think she knew we could see her. I couldn't help but smile as it felt like my heart might burst from happiness. Is this what I was like with Gabriella? Jamie grumbled, causing Nolan to give him a resounding yes. Well, I'm happy for you, and I can see you two really do love one another. He stated more seriously, prompting me to drag my gaze from Tilly to meet his. I could see he meant that. Aw buddy, look at you being all nice and shit, come here. I exclaimed, practically lunging for Jamie as I went to hug my best friend. He might have smacked me down before I could get a good one in, but I say it still counts. I'm proud of Jamie for actually sharing his emotions. Don't push it. He grumbled, back to his usually pissy self. A lot of shit has changed over the past few months, hasn't it? I laughed, prompting Nolan to scoff now. Yeah, and I missed all of it. He grumbled, making me smile. Well, look at it this way, at least you know more than Mom does. I smirked, almost loving that fact more than anything. Well, for now she is in the dark, who knows when Madison might drop that bomb on her if she hasn't already. From the calls earlier though, Mom only sounded concerned about Nolan's arrival more than anything. Gabriella and I might try and leave before that shit goes down, Jamie added, making both Nolan and I glance toward one another. Yeah, I don't blame you. We both said in unison and meant it. It might possibly end up being the biggest meltdown of the century. Now here we are, 3 days later, getting ready for the welcome home party as Mom calls us every 30 minutes asking if we are on our way yet. There, all done, Tilly said before stepping back and admiring her work. Before Nolan could do anything else, I reached forward and snatched my wife into my arms. Never fix another man's tie again or I might hulk out, I grumbled, making Tilly laugh as I realized she thought I was joking. I'm sorry, my husband, I will never make that mistake again, she added playfully before turning in my arms and peering up at me. God, you look stunning, I muttered, letting my hands rise up her back before tangling in her long dark hair. You don't look too bad yourself, Mr. Walters. She breathed, that tension practically smothering me as I let my eyes wander to those luscious pink lips. Oh! Jolie just arrived. They are waiting downstairs in the car. Time to get going. Nolan suddenly piped in before shoving his phone between us and causing Tilly to pull back slightly. Seriously? I hate you. The words just slipped out, making Tilly gasp before slapping me on the chest. Rylan. Be nice. She rushed as my gaze narrowed onto my brother's smug expression. Obviously I didn't really hate him. Well, right now it was pretty close, but he knew exactly what he was doing, and he was having the time of his life while he did it. Maybe he needs to find a hobby or something, or a job. Yeah, that sounds good. Come on, we don't want to keep Mom waiting, Nolan called out as Tilly started to pull me forward. Well, she tried to at least. Come on baby, let's go, she said, and for a moment I swear I saw a hint of nervousness flash through her. Wait, come here first, I rushed, pulling her back into my arms as I glanced to Nolan, begging him to give us a minute alone. Got it, I will meet you downstairs then. I waited until the sound of the front door closing filled the room before lifting my hands and cupping Tilly's face. Are you feeling okay with this? I asked softly, making those long eyelashes flutter before I bent, kissing her lips softly. I couldn't help it. This is your brother's night, I don't want to take away from it, Tilly whispered, causing me to frown. Angel, that doesn't mean you have to keep things in. Tell me baby, what's going on? I asked, pulling her to my chest now as she rested her cheek against me. I want her to like me, and I know it doesn't matter if she does or not, but deep down. She trailed off. Tilly didn't need to finish though, I knew what she meant. I felt it too with her own family. Yeah, their approval doesn't mean shit in the long run, considering Tilly and I know how much we love one another, but it still felt amazing to hear her papa say he approved and to know her mom wasn't going to fight it any longer. I can see Tilly wants that too, with my own family to feel accepted. Listen to me, if my mom isn't happy for us, then that is her loss because she is going to be the one who suffers. She will be the one who doesn't get to see her son living happier than he ever has in his whole life. She won't get to have a daughter-in-law who is the sweetest, kindest person she will ever meet, and when we have kids she will be the only one to suffer because I know for a fact our future children will have more than enough love that her absence won't even be noticed. So don't for a second think that if my mom doesn't accept this, that I will be missing something. I ranted, as tears began spilling down my cheeks before Tilly quickly swiped them away with her palms. I love you more than I ever thought possible, and the way you love me, it's more than I ever thought I deserved, so no matter what, I know we will be happy and in love, so it's her choice if she wants to experience that or not. I added, bending down and kissing Tilly frantically. I felt her head nodding up and down hastily as I could feel those doubts slipping away from her. I had them too, and I know tonight could go either way. I just hope my mom really has changed like she is claiming. I guess we are about to find out. Caroline Walters, perfect, that is what I strive to be. No, that is what I strive for my family to be, and we were so close. But now, I don't even know how we got to this point. Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed of having a life just like this. The big house, fancy cars, nice clothes, all of it. I remember how my sister and I used to lay in bed at night, imagining what life would be like when we married our rich husbands and had everything we ever wanted. We would attend the most elite parties and be the envy of every girl in town. Then I met Edward Walters. He was the most handsome man I had ever laid eyes on, and it was love at first sight. But the only problem was that he came from nothing. My parents were furious. They wanted me to marry someone that they deemed worthy, someone with class and a respectable social status. I didn't get it at first. Being blinded by love, I felt like I could have followed that man anywhere, and I did. But to get to where we are now, it was not easy. I had to watch as my husband failed over and over again. The pressures of proving them all wrong would get to his head, and it would be my job to keep him afloat. Some days he feared we wouldn't be able to pay rent or have enough food to last us until the end of the month, but we somehow made it together. Those were the hardest moments of my life, and at one point I was ready to pack up and leave, but I didn't. I couldn't go back to my hometown and face my family. I realized after that why my parents were so adamant about me marrying a wealthy man, because they didn't want me to suffer through the same things they had. That's why I raised my children the way I did. I wanted them to be accepted into this society, even if their parents weren't born into it, they would be. So once the restaurant began to take off, we were able to save enough to send Rylan and Jolie to one of the top private schools in the state. That was their in. They were doing so well, and when Rylan became friends with the son of Robert Sinclair, I knew we had made it. For a moment I believed Jolie might marry Jamie as well. That's why I waited so long to push her into marriage, but after Jamie got engaged, I began looking for the perfect match for my daughter. Then came Mateo Hernandez. I will admit that his charm and overall wealth might have blinded me. But can you blame me? He seemed like the perfect person for Jolie, better than Alder King. At least if the girls at the country club heard my daughter was dating an Alvarez, I know for a fact that my invitation to this year's garden party would have gotten lost in the mail. Then Rylan had to bring that Martinez girl home. Rumors about her family have been going around for years. Something with the girl's birth certificate came to light and revealed the girl's sister was actually her mother. Once the board members at the dance academy caught wind that perhaps a scandal was right under their noses, they tried to address it, and that's when Paula Martinez quit and never showed her face there again. So seeing Rylan walk into the house with Matilda Martinez hanging on his arm, I was taken aback. Perhaps I didn't handle the situation the best I could, but I'm trying my best here. Don't they realize how much I love them? How I only want what's best for them and have seen what life is like when you throw caution into the wind. Yes, Edward and I ended up on top, but we were the rare case. And after seeing Nolan struggling with addiction issues, I tried to tighten my grasp, not wanting a single thing to ruin that perfection we worked so hard to obtain. But it seems all of my efforts were in vain now. My own husband won't even look at me. My sweet Nolan, he was such a calm baby and always wanted to be snuggled. Since he was the youngest, we all seemed to spoil him, even his brother and sister. So when I first found out about his drug use, I thought it was a one-time thing. I thought if we pretended it didn't happen, perhaps it would go away. I guess I pretended for too long. But now he is home and we will do things differently. I just want my family back, and if it means I have to suck it up and let them pursue these new relationships, I guess I have to. Let's just hope it's a phase, considering Jolie was pretty shaken by Jamie's engagement. Perhaps this is her way of rebelling. As for Rylan, out of all my children, he is my most loyal. I know him, and this thing with the Martinez girl will pass soon enough. He and Madison were made for one another, and I know how much that hurt him when she left. As badly as I wanted to invite her tonight, I made the choice not to, considering this is for Nolan, and I promised to behave. So when I saw Madison's number pop up on my phone, I couldn't help but smile as I quickly answered it. "Madison, how have you been, darling?" I asked before checking myself in the mirror. "Well, I have been better. I'm actually on my way to meet with some friends right now. There is something I wanted to ask you. I didn't see an announcement or anything and thought maybe you didn't want to tell me, considering the situation," she began, making my brow furrow as I brushed back one of my blonde curls. "What is it? Did something happen? I actually ran into Rylan the other day," she began, making my heart leap into my throat with excitement. "Oh, that's wonderful. How did things go?" I rushed, hoping to God my son has finally pulled his head out of his ass. Madison is the perfect woman for him. She is well educated, comes from a very wealthy family, and her presence alone screams elegance and sophistication. Considering he informed me about the wedding not very well. Wait, what did she just say? Wedding? I asked, wondering for a moment what this woman was talking about. Yes, he introduced me to his wife Matilda. Wife? No dear, I think you are mistaken. I laughed wildly. There is no way. Mrs. Walters, he said it himself. I even saw the ring. She added, and that's when the room began to spin. He must have been tricking you, my dear. There is no way. Perhaps he wanted to make you jealous. I blurted, trying to come up with some type of reason for this. Rylan would never do that to me. I don't think that's the case, Mrs. Walters, she whispered, her voice filled with pity as I began to feel like a fool. Madison, if we could keep this between us for the time being, I would greatly appreciate that. I added, knowing what this had the capabilities of doing. Scandal? It would all be one big scandal. I was already trying to handle the Nolan issue. I can't even comprehend Jolie and what she is doing, but my Rylan going and getting married behind my back? No. It can't possible. After saying my goodbyes, I hung up the phone and placed my hand on the vanity before me, trying my hardest not to faint. "Coraline, are you in here? The first guests are starting to arrive," Edward called out, making me stiffen. Did he already know? He had finally just come home after all of this time and things were still rather rocky. But he wouldn't keep something like that from me, would he? "Edward, have you spoken to Rylan recently?" I asked as calmly as I could. I could tell when my husband was hiding something, so his answer should give me something. "Just this morning. Why? Did you need him to pick something up on the way?" he asked, making me sigh as I could see he wasn't acting unusual. "No. It's okay, I will handle it," I stated, looking at myself once more in the mirror before feeling that sense of control slipping from my fingertips yet again. Everything was supposed to be perfect. Rylan wouldn't do this to me, he just wouldn't. "Tilly, welcome, would you like a glass of champagne? It's non-alcoholic," a server standing at the front door offered before holding out a tray and offering us the drink. I glanced over at Rylan before he let out a long breath and shook his head no. "No thank you," I whispered, feeling my nerves rising by the second as Nolan went to reach for one. "Nope, he doesn't want one either," Rylan interjected. "What?" He clearly emphasized the non-alcoholic part for my sake. Nolan teased, making Rylan frown. "Mom shouldn't be serving anything that resembles alcohol in the slightest," Rylan muttered in annoyance. "I wouldn't be surprised if she has the real stuff in the back and is doing this just for show." Jolie chimed in as we all made our way into the house. I couldn't help but glance around as I saw dozens of elegantly dressed guests standing in circles and chatting away happily. "Okay Noel, let's see how many people you can actually tolerate are here," Rylan whispered lowly as both Nolan and Jolie snickered before peering around. I guess they must be used to this type of thing. Even though this was Nolan's welcome home party, it felt more like a gala or something, especially with the dresses some of these women were wearing. "Oh, there's Gabriella and Jamie," Jolie chimed in, and that's when I saw Nolan stiffen. He opened up to me about what happened before, how he disliked Gabriella at first because he felt bad for his sister, and apparently he ended up spreading something about her that led to him going to rehab. I guess there was also a girl involved, but he didn't really want to talk about that. I glanced towards Nolan before reaching my free hand out and grabbing his arm. "We are right here," I reminded him, seeing that anxious look in his eyes growing by the second. That's when Rylan stepped closer and threw his arm around his brother next. "Gabby is one of the sweetest people ever, well, besides my wife of course," he added playfully while shooting me a wink. "I can guarantee that everything is water under the bridge, little brother." I could see Nolan start to relax as he looked between us and nodded softly. "But if she does decide to kick your ass, it would be a great excuse to leave early. Those pregnancy hormones are no joke apparently," Rylan added teasingly, prompting Nolan to shoot him a glare. I heard soft laughter growing closer as I glanced over and saw both Jamie and Gabriella walking over. For a moment I wondered if Jolie and Gabriella went shopping for their dresses together, considering they wore similar colors. Jolie had on a teal dress that had a lace bodice with thin straps, while Gabriella wore a satin one with sleeves that hung off her shoulders. I could see Gabriella's round stomach beneath the material and couldn't help but admire the adorable bump. She was gorgeous, they both were. "Tilly, it's so great to see you," Gabriella gushed as she surprisingly went in for a hug. It's great to see you too. You look beautiful, I said, feeling my cheeks warm as Gabriella pulled back before looking me up and down now. Wow, Rylan sure is one lucky guy, she stated, making my cheeks really burn now as Rylan swooped in and snaked his arms around my waist. Don't I know it isn't my wife beautiful? He added, making Gabriella's pink lips spread into a huge smile before she nodded her head hastily. So, I'm guessing you're not taking the subtle approach in telling your mom? Considering you seem to be announcing it freely. Jamie commented, making Rylan shrug before looking down at me. There is nothing she can do or say to change it, and I refuse to hide the fact that this gorgeous woman right here is mine. Rylan added while bending down and kissing my lips softly. I swear I felt my stomach flip a good 100 times. Oh God, is this what you have to deal with all day long? Jamie asked, who I realized was Nolan when he began to laugh. For the most part Tilly is mindful of it though, unlike this animal right here. Nolan explained as he looked at Rylan in disgust. Of course Rylan wasn't helping his case as he began kissing down my neck and shoulder, quite sloppily I might add. People were starting to stare. Thank you for inviting us to your party. Gabriella spoke up, making Nolan glance towards her now as I tried to bat Rylan away. Yet I well, thanks for coming in about before he began nervously, making Gabriella reach out and touch his hand gently. It's okay, I understand. I'm just happy you are back with your family now. Gabriella interrupted, making Nolan search her gaze carefully before letting out a breath he must have been holding. Thank you, I'm happy to be back too. He added, and just then, a loud shriek pierced through the room, making me jump. Nolan! My baby, come here! Caroline Walters exclaimed happily before waltzing her way over and making a huge production about it. I could see all eyes land on Nolan as people began to whisper to one another. Hi Mom, I see you invited half of the country club. Nolan mumbled before letting his mom hug him. Oh sweetheart, everyone here cares about you, you have known them just as long as I have. She laughed while pulling back and looking at his tie. You look good baby, let me just fix this though. She whispered, fiddling with the tie I had helped him with as I felt Rylan stiffen beside me. That's when his mom dragged her gaze from Nolan and settled it right on Rylan. Isn't it great to have the family back together? She stated hastily as Rylan's dad came walking up next. Why didn't you tell me they were here? He grumbled and went to give Nolan a big hug now. I'm surprised the loud shriek didn't give it away. Jolie mumbled. I couldn't help but feel awkward as Rylan's mom stepped closer, seeming to not even notice me standing beside him as she reached up and smoothed down his suit jacket. Why haven't you answered my calls, Ree? I was worried about you. Have you been eating enough? You look tired. She began to fawn all over him as I tried to slip away, but of course Rylan tightened his grip and shot me a warning glare. What was I supposed to do? It was like his mom was boxing me out and I was just standing there awkwardly. We have been busy. Actually, there is something I wanted to speak with you about. Rylan snapped, making my eyes widen. Already? He was going to just say it right off the bat? Too busy? You have never been too busy for your mom before. I hope you aren't still mad at me. I was hoping we could have a word as well alone if that's all right with you. Caroline rushed, her green eyes peering up at Rylan as he pressing his mouth into a thin line. I could tell he was annoyed. But maybe it's best he does tell her privately, she might take the news better. Anything you need to say to me, you can say in front of Tilly. Rylan stated firmly, making my stomach twist anxiously. I see, of course, but this is more about your brother, a private matter. She whispered, glancing towards Nolan, who was talking to his dad and Jamie. I saw Rylan hesitate for a moment when Jolie and Alder stepped closer. Mom, maybe that can wait until after the party, Jolie stated, making Caroline look at her daughter before dragging her eyes up and down her body. Jolie, have you been putting on weight? I swear both Rylan and my mouth dropped open in shock, while Alder seemed to stiffen as an angry expression crossed his face. In fact I have, and do you want to know why? Jolie suddenly snapped, making my eyes widen, and Alder suddenly lunged forward and circled his arms around Jolie's waist. Why don't we go find something to eat? He mumbled and began whispering something into her ear. Screw the plan, she obviously hasn't learned a single thing. Jolie hissed back as Alder began walking her to the other side of the room by a table filled with different finger foods. I could see Caroline's hand ball into a fist as she watched her daughter travel deeper into the foyer. Sweetheart, what was your sister talking about? She asked, turning towards Rylan now as her fake smile started to falter. That's for her and Alder to tell you. But there is something I would like to say first. Rylan began, pulling me closer to his side as he gripped my hand and was about to lift it up. Just as he did, a man carrying a tray of drinks was about to walk by when he suddenly tripped. I watched with wide eyes as the bubbly liquid came spilling out right down the front of my dress. Oh my goodness! Are you all right? Caroline rushed, making all eyes dart to us as Rylan was on me in seconds. Here, put this on, Rylan stated hurriedly while taking off his jacket and going to put it around me. Nonsense, Rylan, your suit will be ruined, let me just take her up and get her one of Jolie's dresses, Caroline offered as Rylan turned even more protective. I will go with, he said quickly, causing Caroline to start to panic. No, it's okay, us girls can handle it, right Tilly? Besides, Nolan needs you here, she explained, and I almost believed her with how genuine she sounded. If I hadn't seen her foot slip out and trip that man with my own eyes. But this needed to be done, and truthfully, I was waiting for it. I will be right back, okay? I promise, I said to Rylan, causing a deep frown to set on his face. Okay, he muttered as worry flashed across his face. Great, we will only be a minute, darling. At least let me walk you both to the room. He rushed, not wanting me to be alone with his mother for obviously. And with that, we followed Caroline Walters towards the stairs, readying myself for whatever was waiting for me the moment we stepped into that room alone. But what Caroline doesn't realize is I'm not the weak little girl she probably expects me to be. When it comes to Rylan, I'm more than willing to fight back, and my mother-in-law is about to find that out. Tilly, I stepped towards the bedroom door and was about to walk through when Rylan gripped my hand tightly before pulling me back to his chest. I was still all sticky and wet, but he didn't even seem to care. Tilly, you don't have to do this, he whispered, prompting me to glance over my shoulder as I eyed Rylan's mom staring at us from across the room. Of course she just smiled warmly and turned away, acting like seeing us together didn't affect her in the slightest. I could tell it did though. It's okay, like you spoke with my papa, I want to speak with your mom too. I want her to see how much I love you, Rylan, and if she still doesn't accept me, then that's fine. But then she can't say I didn't try, right me amor? I explained quietly, my words causing Rylan to close his eyes and swallow hard. God, why did you have to call me that? You know what it does to me. He mumbled, making me hold in a laugh as I lifted on my toes before kissing his lips gently. It's true though, you are my love, my one and only love. I let my words fan against his skin as a visible shiver trembled through him. I love you too so much, that's why I'm giving you 5 minutes, and if I hear any yelling then I'm kicking the door down. He added playfully before nipping at my bottom lip and pulling. Ugh, how could this man be so perfect? And how is that horrible woman in there the one that raised him? Matilda dear, I think I found something. I can take it from here, sweetheart. Caroline rushed before prying me away from Rylan and practically slamming the door in his face. That boy, I swear he always finds some new way to annoy me. You should have seen him with his last girlfriend, I swear he was attached to her at the hip. Come, I think this should fit you. It was one of Jolie's dresses when she used to do pageants, of course she was a lot thinner back then. Caroline began to ramble out, making me blink rapidly as I tried to process all of that. It was a lot. Especially since she was now holding the puffiest yellow dress I had ever seen. It was not even a soft yellow, I am talking bright neon yellow that could probably be seen from space. I think Jolie looks beautiful. I managed to mumble as she lifted the dress and held it to my body. Oh, of course my daughter is beautiful, but her figure is all she has left. I mean, she isn't getting younger, and men these days have certain tastes. She began, looking down at me before smiling widely. Alder seems to love her exactly how she is. Suddenly Caroline froze as that fake smile faltered. Love, is that what you think it is? Oh bless your heart, men like Alder King only want one thing, and when they get it, they are on to the next. She began, and honestly what she said made me laugh. I didn't mean to, it just came out and Caroline did not expect it. Sorry, it's just you sound just like Mama. In fact, she said the same exact thing about Rylan. I said, making Caroline falter as her hand pulled the dress away from me. About my Rylan? He would never. Don't you mean my Rylan? I wanted to say it so badly, but I decided against it, even if I meant it with all my heart. I looked at Caroline in her wide green eyes, the words I spoke seeming to catch her off guard as I stepped around her and headed for the open closet. That's what I told Mama. Rylan would never. In fact, I knew Rylan was different even all those years ago. But after my real mother told me about my father, I began, glancing back to see Caroline watching me carefully. I knew she was aware that Shayna was my mother. That's what she was talking about the first time I came here. So when I said it, I didn't see an ounce of surprise. I told them Rylan wasn't like other guys. I could tell just by the way he looked at me how he didn't see me any differently for wearing a uniform when we first spoke. He only saw me, the real me, and I will tell you, Mrs. Walters, I saw him too, even when I was a young girl. I reached for a long silver dress, the color sparkling beneath the light as I couldn't help but admire it. This was something I could never afford before. In fact, it's a dress I wouldn't even bother looking at because those types of things never mattered. But suddenly, Looking at it, I felt like I needed to prove a point. Even if I don't belong in this world, I'm here, and there is nothing Caroline can do about it. I know you don't think I'm good enough for your son. I know you want someone who is more on your level. But how can you know that when you haven't even seen our love? If you haven't taken a single moment to truly look at him and realize that for the first time in his life he is happy, truly happy, and that's not something money can buy. I whispered, taking the silver dress out fully now and holding it against me. Isn't that what a loving mother would wish for their child? No. For their children to find true happiness? If not, then what more do they need? What more? You can't possibly believe love can buy you food or pay for your rent when it's due. That is a naive way of thinking. She snapped, making my smile falter slightly as I almost felt bad for this woman. No, you are right, but that love is what gets you through those times. It's what pushes you to want more. I know about sacrifice, Mrs. Walters, and I also know that I wouldn't trade a single second of it after what it taught me. Luckily you have raised Rylan in a home where he will never know what it's like to go hungry or to feel so hopeless that you don't even know if you will have a home tomorrow. But I wouldn't trade 1 second of it because it brought me to him, and now those lonely nights don't seem so bad. In fact, they make this love that much sweeter. I said softly, feeling a stray tear fall down my cheek as I swiftly wiped it away before forcing a smile and turning around. So I understand if you're not willing to accept Rylan and me being married, but just know I will spend every day of my life cherishing that man. After all, he is what I wished for all of those lonely nights, and to have that wish come true I will never take it for granted. I ended my speech, not sure if Caroline even knew about the wedding, but I suspected since Madeline did. Now if you will excuse me, I think this is more my color, I said, turning away from her as I walked to the bathroom and tried my hardest to keep it together. I had never been so open and honest with someone before, well, other than Rylan. But I hope she saw it, and maybe she might actually see just how much I love her son. But when I opened the door and saw Rylan standing there instead of Caroline, I won't lie, my heart dropped. Wow, you look incredible, Angel. He breathed, eyeing me up and down as he admired the dress I now wore. Where is your mom? I asked quietly as Rylan stepped forward and wrapped his arms around me. She said she had to go take care of something, he explained, and I could hear the disappointment in his voice. Well, I tried, I said, making Rylan nod his head up and down. I know, baby, I know you did, and it's okay. I love you so much, and we are our own little family now, right? He asked, pulling away as he peered down at me. All I could do was cry. I don't know why I let it affect me this much, but a deep part of me just wanted to be accepted. That's all I ever wanted. Hey, it's okay, come here. Nothing else matters but you and me. As long as we are together, we are unstoppable, baby. Rylan said sweetly before bending down and kissing all my tears away. You're right, mi amor. I sniffled, making Rylan growl before attacking my neck. Now you've done it. I couldn't help but giggle as Rylan began tickling and kissing me all over. He knows just what to do to make me feel better. I just hope Jolie has better luck with her mom than I did. Jolie, I stuffed a small quiche into my mouth, letting my gaze wander the room as I couldn't help but scoff. She didn't learn a thing, I muttered, not seeing a single one of Nolan's real friends. We don't have to stay long, it seems like your brother might be ready to leave soon anyway. Alder whispered beside me, nodding towards Nolan, who appeared bored to death. I can't blame him, this isn't the welcome home party I had in mind. It should have just been us. I'm starting to regret letting Mom do this. Let's go save him. Alder added while filling a small plate with more quiche. Now that the morning sickness seems to be subsiding, my hunger is back in full force. I couldn't help but smile up at him as he bent down before kissing my lips sweetly. I can't get over how beautiful you look, he muttered while snaking his free arm around my waist. I won't lie, if it wasn't for Alder, I probably would have taken my mom's comment to heart. She always gets on me about my weight, and hearing her say I gained weight wasn't a surprise, but how Alder acted after was. Don't you dare listen to her. You are stunning and I can't wait to see our baby start to grow more and more. He whispered against my ear before circling his arms around me and palming my stomach. That was more than enough for me to push everything my mom said aside. If she wants to act this way, fine, because I have Alder now and enough support to get us through this. I swear my brother was more excited to meet Alder than he was to see me. Even my dad can't stop talking about him. They are even planning some type of camping trip with just the guys soon. Well, Daddy still doesn't know about the baby yet, but we plan to make a big announcement tonight. Nolan actually suggested it. I think he wants all the attention to be on someone else, which I understand. This is a lot. Mom has made Nolan's struggles her whole personality lately. The way she goes on and on about these charity events she has spoken at, talking about Nolan's addiction and how it affects her. What about Nolan? He is the one who has to fight these struggles daily. I know it isn't easy for us either, but she has painted herself as this victim when she is part of the reason Nolan is this way. Suddenly I saw a flash of blue stride by as I watched my mother disappear into the kitchen. After that stunt she pulled with Tilly, my anger was ready to boil over. Mom acted like it was some big accident, but Caroline Walters doesn't make mistakes, not ones like that at least. So I'm pretty sure she planned it. Why? I'm not sure. She was the one who said Tilly could come. Maybe seeing them together in person was too much. I mean, I have never seen Rylan like this before. He is so happy, like truly happy. I know he has always had a smile on his face, but a lot of times it didn't reach his eyes before. Like something inside of him just wasn't complete, and I know it was hard for him being Mom's favorite, which she made very obvious. He didn't want to let her down ever, so seeing him stand up to her, it's crazy. I can tell she isn't handling it well either. Baby, why don't you go save Nolan? I'm going to be right back, I said, going to pull from Alder as a frown immediately filled his face. Where are you going? He asked hastily, making me smile before sliding my hand up his chest. I saw my mom go into the kitchen. I just want to speak with her for a moment. Apparently that explanation didn't make him feel any better. Jolie, I don't want you to be alone with her. Stop, I will be fine, okay? I have put up with my mother for this long, so don't worry. I reassured as he just let out a sigh before nodding hesitantly. I promise I will be good, okay? It's not you being good that I'm worried about, Jolie. He mumbled, and I quickly placed a kiss along his jaw before pulling back again. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, send in reinforcements, I teased, which probably wasn't the best because Alder just seemed even more concerned as I pulled away and headed for the kitchen. It wasn't like my mother to not work a room when she walked through it, so something seemed off. Maybe Rylan chewed her out or something. I walked through the white double doors as a few servers milled in and out. I couldn't help but look around in confusion as I expected my mom to be bossing the staff around in that overly sweet type of way she does when I suddenly heard a sniffle near the pantry. I felt my brow furrow before making my way over and slowly opening the door. That's where I saw Mom standing towards the back with a bottle of bourbon in her hand as she quickly took a drink from it. What? Seriously? Mom? I whispered in confusion. Is she crying? Like really crying? Not those crocodile tears that she usually pulls off, no, this was makeup smearing, full-on bawling. What happened? I rushed. Oh God, did Nana die or something? Jolie, it's nothing. She rushed, screwing the top back onto the drink before shoving the bottle behind a box of crackers. This is used for baking, I swear. She mumbled, going to wipe off her cheeks before turning away from me again. Aren't you enjoying the party? She asked, her voice cracking as I felt, weird, I had never seen Mom like this ever. She was always so well put together. I mean, even at that dinner party with Matteo she still was under control. Well, considering they are mostly your friends. I said bluntly, done sugarcoating things with her. They are, aren't they? I suppose Nolan is upset with me. She added sadly. I don't think he really cares, honestly. She has to realize this party is the least of Nolan's concerns right now. He is just trying to get it over with at this point. Were you there when they got married? Mom suddenly asked, making my brow furrow. Did they look as happy as they do today? What? Who, Mom? How much did she drink? They really are a good fit, they look good together, but I just couldn't see past it. She thinks I don't know, but your father and we suffered too once. She began to ramble as more tears fell from her face. I wouldn't trade it for anything either. I say I would, but I wouldn't. Okay Mom, you're starting to scare me. What are you talking about? Has she lost her mind or something? Rylan and Matilda. I let her words sink in as I tried to process them. Was Daddy there? She asked and I just blinked my eyes in confusion. Wait, Rylan and Tilly, you are saying they are married? I asked, feeling completely clueless about all of this. My mom looked at me in surprise. You don't have to play stupid with me, Jolie. Matilda confirmed it just now. Oh my God, I should have known something weird was going on. I see how it is. This is payback for me not telling him about the baby first. Oh, he is dead. I blurted in frustration. Baby? What baby? My mom suddenly asked, making my stomach drop. Shit, I didn't mean to say that out loud. I looked at my mom as her eyes traveled to my stomach before coming back to my face. Jolie, are you? She began as I let out a groan. Yes, I am okay, and before you ask who the father is, it's Alder, and he has even asked me to marry him. I love him, Mother, and he loves me too, and there is nothing you can say or do to get between that. So if you can't accept him as my future husband and the father of your first grandchild, then you don't deserve to be in our life. I yelled, panting heavily as my mom just stared at me with wide shocked eyes. I watched as she glanced down at my stomach again before raising her hand and covering her mouth. Baby," she whispered, and that's when I saw more tears filled those now bloodshot eyes. Yes, I'm having a baby. I whispered, knowing what she might say next would determine everything. But she didn't say anything, no, instead she stepped forward and reached out, pulling me against her chest as she hugged me tightly. I felt my body stiffen, the act shocking me to my core as she began stroking my hair gently. "You are going to be a great mother," she whispered, making tears burst out of me as the action sent me back years. Back to those old days where my mom didn't give a shit about her image or wealth. Yes, she would dream about being one of those women, but she was still a mother first. Somehow along the way that changed. She stopped putting our happiness first and began following her own, at least what she imagined it to be. She wanted us to be perfect. No, she needed us to be perfect so she could fit into that role she always dreamed of playing. "I'm sorry, she began, making me pull away slightly to see this now broken woman standing before me. No, she wasn't broken, she was real. This was her beneath all of that fakeness she always piled on. "A sorry won't magically fix everything, Mom," I whispered, knowing it was going to take a hell of a lot more than that. "I know. Especially after you said you would change the first time," I reminded her as she just nodded. I could see the shame filling her face and I actually liked it. I liked seeing the realization of how horrible she has been. "I just wanted the best for you." "No. You wanted the best for you, Mom. Because if you wanted the best for us, you would see Rylan is happier than he has ever been, and me, I am so in love with a great man, a man who will protect and care for me, for us," I began, feeling those tears yet again as my emotions began to heighten. "Apparently I can't talk about Alder without crying. And Nolan, you have to stop pretending that everything is okay. Because it's not, Mom. He doesn't need a fancy party or any of this shit, and I know it's scary for you, but you have to realize none of us are perfect, and trying to make us that way is pushing us further from it, especially Nolan," I stated, knowing Nolan needs Mom to acknowledge his pain. That she has to admit her role in this and how she was helping to enable him by ignoring it. We all were at first, not this time though. I just thought if I pretended he was okay he would be. She choked and I nodded my head in understanding. "I know, but you need to realize he is an addict, and you trying to sugarcoat it and almost glamorizing this situation with your parties and charity events, it's not helping. Please let this sink in, because if she doesn't stop, she can't have a relationship with Nolan. It's way too toxic for him." "I know," she added sadly as I stepped back to look at her. "Why don't we just send everyone home, then we can have a real party for Nolan with just his family?" I suggested, watching her swipe underneath her eyes and clearing off the smeared makeup. I didn't expect her to agree, and in a way it was a test, but what she said surprised me. "You will stay?" she asked, and I nodded. "Okay, let me just go make the announcement then." Wow, she was really going to do it? I watched as she straightened her back before taking in a deep breath and marching past me. Of course I followed. I needed to see this. We made our way through the kitchen as she rounded the corner before almost running into someone. "Well, there you are." I was wondering where the hostess was hiding. A man said deeply, making my brow furrow. "Wait, is that Bruce Remington? What are you doing here?" Bruce Remington, I knew the moment I saw that Martinez girl again. There was something odd about it. It's been 20 years since the last time I laid eyes on her, and with the way she left things, I figured we wouldn't see her again. I won't lie, I know my sons might not be the most responsible men. I have had my own moments which ended in another heir to my wealth. But Roger, I could honestly say that he did care for that girl before she broke his heart. When it came out that he wasn't the only one she was sleeping around with, everything fell apart. Then once the talks of a baby came into the mix, I had to take charge. So I dropped her off at the clinic, ready to get the DNA test done sooner rather than later, and the girl ran. She was only 14 at the time, so I can't blame her, but when she claimed to have lied about the pregnancy just to get Roger back, I dropped it. Teenagers do crazy things. I was a teenager once and I had a few psycho exes of my own. Roger wanted nothing to do with her and things went back to normal. But seeing her again at the hospital, it brought things back, and when I saw that woman with Rylan Walters, I had a weird feeling about it, very weird. I didn't get a good look at her face, but something about her felt so familiar. Then I did some digging. That's where I found the birth certificate in public records, thanks to a few connections I have acquired over the years. She did have a child after all, and on the birth certificate, there was no father listed. So once I heard the rumor mill going around at the country club about Caroline's party, I couldn't fight that nagging feeling and had to see for myself. She should be here, right? If not, I will fake some pleasantries and get on my way. Bruce? What are you doing here? Caroline asked, seeming flustered as she smoothed down her dress nervously. I knew Caroline through her husband Edward. We have played a few rounds of gold throughout the years and I frequent their restaurant, using it to meet up with clients. Can't I come to celebrate my friends? I wanted to say hi to Nico and welcome him home. Don't you mean Nolan? Caroline's fiery daughter grumbled in annoyance as I smiled widely. Of course. Shit, I knew it started with an N. They didn't talk about the youngest boy much and I didn't ask. The rumors going around were enough to tell me not to. I have also heard the stories about the daughter and who she has been seen with lately. The Alvarez family is one I will not be messing with. Is she a looker though? Even if she is a little too young for me, especially since I might have a granddaughter around her age. God, why is that a reality I might be facing? I didn't even want to mention it to Roger yet. I wouldn't want to get his hopes up. Especially since he had gotten sick. We never thought it would be a possibility. Well, would you like me to get Edward for you? Caroline asked before giving me a tight smile. Actually, I was wondering if I could speak with your son Rylan. No. The daughter blurted, making me even more suspicious as I arched a brow in response. No? Is he not here? He is currently indisposed, but why don't you make yourself comfortable and I will let Edward know you are here. Caroline rushed, glancing towards her daughter before back at me. Now if you will excuse us. Both of the women began walking away from me as their pace quickened. They knew, at least the daughter did, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this today. Slipping my hands into my pockets, I turned on my heel and went to follow after them. My gaze locked onto their expressions as I saw the daughter whisper something, causing Caroline's face to fill with shock. Then they began searching the room, causing me to do the same, and then I saw her. I saw the girl beside Rylan as he held her around the waist tightly. A weird possessive feeling began to rise as I began to walk towards them. If that was my granddaughter, she was above every single person in this room. And the fact that a man like Rylan Walters had her, I didn't know what to think about that fully. I wasn't one to discriminate, but if he was the playboy I had heard about in the tabloids, I didn't quite like this. I made my way straight towards them. The sound of someone calling out Rylan's name caused both he and the girl to turn as all the air rushed from my lungs. Her eyes. I watched as the blue/green orbs widened, the sight of me seeming to scare her as Rylan quickly pulled her behind his back protectively. You need to leave now. He practically growled, the hostility not going unnoticed as whispers began to erupt throughout the foyer. "Let me see her," I stated firmly, needing to make sure one more time it wasn't just an illusion, right? I never had daughters, only sons, 4 to be exact. So to see those eyes that none of my sons had even inherited, it was almost shocking. "She wants nothing to do with you or your family, so leave her alone," Rylan added just as Jamie Sinclair came over and stood behind him. "Now is not the time or place to be doing this." He spoke lowly, his voice just as threatening as Rylan's was as my gaze suddenly went to Rylan's back. That's when I saw those beautiful eyes peering over at me, and I couldn't help but step closer and bend forward. "Matilda, I just want to meet you. I promise there is nothing sinister behind my intentions." I spoke softly, stunned by her beauty as she looked a lot like my late wife, Amy. Then again, so did Roger, but Matilda had that caramel skin and dark hair, making those eyes pop even more. "If you want to meet her, then I suggest you leave now. If she decides that is what she wants, we will contact you at a later time to set it up." Rylan snapped, and I couldn't take my eyes off of her. "Your father, he would like to meet you too. He will be so happy to learn that wasn't my so-called father the one who wanted nothing to do with me? And you, what you wanted to do was even worse," she whispered harshly, the hatred in her voice taking me aback as Rylan quickly turned and embraced her. "Hey, it's okay, don't even speak to him, Angel. Jamie, please," he added, prompting Jamie Sinclair to step forward and block the two even more. "Bruce, perhaps it's best you leave for now," Edward suddenly piped in as he came up from behind. I stood there for a few moments contemplating what I should do as I let out a sigh of defeat. "Fine, but I don't know what your mother told you, Matilda. Your father and we were never made aware that she was truly pregnant with you," I said, realizing we had all been lied to most likely. I could see Tilly bury her face against Rylan's chest as he just turned to glare at me. The arrogant side to me wanted to get my men in here and drag Matilda back home with me, but I knew it would cause more issues, so I will back away for now. "I will be waiting for your call." I said one last thing and left. Perhaps I should pay Shayna Martinez a visit next. "Tilly," I stood there in shock. The fact that Bruce just came up to me, that he knew exactly who I was. How did he find out? And what did he mean when he said he didn't know my mom was truly pregnant? Wasn't he the who wanted her to get an abortion? "Hey, look at me, he is gone, you don't have to worry." Rylan rushed out before gripping my face and kissing my lips and cheeks softly. "It's okay, Angel, I promise I won't let him get to you," he whispered as I just nodded before taking a shuddering breath. "Please, if all of you could go home. I apologize for the abrupt end to the evening, but me and my family need some time alone," Caroline suddenly announced, prompting Rylan to stiffen before anger flashed across his face. Anger like nothing I had seen before. Rylan reached down and gripped my hand before spinning around and marching towards his mother. "You did this, didn't you? You knew he was Tilly's grandfather. How could you stoop so low?" he snapped, his voice echoing off of the walls as all of Caroline's friends looked on in horror. "Rylan, I didn't bullshit. This is just another way for you to try and break us apart. I can't believe I even brought her here. I should have known you would have pulled some type of shit like this." "Rylan," his dad began, trying to calm him down, but Rylan just pushed his hand away. No. If she can't accept the fact that we are married, that I love this woman more than I ever thought imaginable, then she doesn't deserve to be in our lives. He continued, and I watched as Caroline's eyes began to pool with tears. Mi amor. I breathed, seeing Ryland's shoulders slump as some of that anger dissipated immediately. He turned his head, looking back at me as the pain he held in his eyes just about crushed me. I know you have a right to be angry, but Mom didn't know about Bruce. Jolie suddenly added, making everyone grow quiet as the staff began ushering people out of the house. I'm sure this was going to be the gossip at the country club for a while, but I didn't care. I was just worried about Ryland. I wanted to go home and crawl into our bed and sob myself to sleep in his arms. Even if she didn't, all of the shit she has been putting us through, I've had enough. I'm just done. Ryland threw his hand up in the air as he looked towards his mom once more. I know I have been a horrible mother. I have been a horrible wife, and there is nothing I can do to take it back. But I swear, I will try to be better. After what Tilly said, after what she said. You walked out on her after spilling champagne down her dress, which we know wasn't an accident, because we all know Caroline Walters has to be in control at all times. Baby, let him finish, Tilly, she needs to hear this. Nolan whispered beside me before reaching down and taking my free hand in a supportive way. I could see he needed his mother to hear this too. I know. I didn't know how to handle everything. Okay. I know I'm not perfect, trust me, my parents reminded me of that every day for the past 27 years. But I tried, and I know now it was the worst thing for our family. Hearing Tilly and finding out about the baby. She continued before reaching out and grabbing Jolie's hand. Wait, what baby? Mr. Walters piped in, prompting Jolie to smile at him sheepishly. I see how much time I wasted, and with Nolan. Caroline choked out. I didn't know what to do, so I tried to pretend it was all fine. I know it wasn't right, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for being this way. She broke down, the remorse she showed seeming to be the most genuine thing I have seen from her yet. As I looked over at Rylan, I could see it was affecting him too, that he didn't want this to be the outcome, but he is tired, we both are. But I knew Rylan had a big heart. He is one of the most forgiving, kind, and loving people I have ever met. So I let go of his hand and motioned towards his mom, causing him to fill with confusion. It's okay, I whispered, smiling encouragingly. That's when Gabriella came over to me and took the hand Rylan had been holding, and for the first time in my life I actually felt like I had friends, real friends. Rylan went to his mom, pulling Nolan along with him as Jolie soon joined in. No more meddling. No more pretending, and no more trying to be something you are not. Rylan said, making Caroline nod hastily as her 3 kids hugged her. This is your last chance, really. Rylan added seriously, making Caroline sniffle as Mr. Walters came up with them. Can we add no more dragging Dad to stuffy parties too? He grumbled, making everyone laugh as I saw Alder smiling lovingly towards Jolie, his face probably mirroring my own. Well, on the bright side, at least all the attention is off of me now, right? Nolan said, making Rylan roll his eyes before putting his brother in a headlock. Why do I feel like you might have planned this all out instead? He muttered as Jamie came over to his wife and wrapped his arms around her waist. I'm just glad this drama doesn't involve us for once, no offense. he added before glancing towards me sheepishly as Gabriella elbowed him in the side. It's okay. I laughed awkwardly, being brought back to the current situation as I bit my lip anxiously. Now that Bruce knows, is my family in danger somehow? Tilly, can we have a word? Caroline suddenly asked, causing my gaze to snap to her as Rylan seemed very apprehensive. Rylan came to my side quickly and wrapped his muscular arms around me protectively. I don't think I just want to apologize, but I guess I can do it here. She began, clearing her throat as she glanced at Jolie, who nodded encouragingly. What you said upstairs, it made me realize that you were right. I don't know anything about you two as a couple, but what I have witnessed just from tonight is that Rylan is very clearly happy. I can see how much he loves you just by the way he looks at you. It's a look I have never witnessed on him before. So I hope, well, perhaps we can have a second chance as well? I understand if I would love that. I rushed, feeling this knot finally loosen in my stomach as Caroline smiled at me warmly. I'm glad we cleared that up, but can we get back to Jolie being pregnant now? Mr. Walters added, making everyone laugh as he began talking with Jolie and Alder. Eventually we moved to the dining area. Considering the tension seemed to disappear, we all realized just how hungry we were. After sitting down, I couldn't help but melt into Rylan's side. Everyone was talking and laughing as we all tried to move on from the evening. I closed my eyes, willing myself to be in this moment, but I couldn't fully, not after what Bruce said. Are you okay? Rylan whispered against the shell of my ear, making me shrug. I went to pull back and say something, but before I could, my phone began to ring. After retrieving it from Rylan's jacket I was now wearing, I looked at the screen and saw a name I didn't expect. Why is she calling? I asked out loud, seeing Shayna's number flashing on my screen. Just let it go to voicemail. Rylan stated firmly, and I nodded in agreement, but she kept calling and then I got worried for Papa. What if something bad happened? Let me. Rylan said, grabbing the phone from my hand as he hit answer before pressing it to his ear, but before he could even speak, I could hear her yells from here. How could you, Tilly? You ruined my life. You just had to tell him, didn't you? I wish I got rid of you back then. Now my whole life is ruined. It's your fault. Eddie left me. All your fault, you stupid. I hate you. Rylan hung up, his eyes turning murderous as he gripped the device tightly. I think it's time I had a word with her. I'm going to get to the bottom of this, Tilly, and no matter what, Shayna won't be in your life anymore, especially after this. Rylan stated darkly, that anger simmering once more as I just nodded my head. I felt my heart swell with how protective Rylan is of me, but I won't let him fight all of my battles for me, especially not this one. There's something I need to say to Shayna. I want to go with you. I'm ready to get the truth. Tilly, I stepped towards Shayna's apartment as the sound of shouting and yelling echoed down the hallway. No, Mama, she ruined everything. I know she did this on purpose. She had to. Shayna yelled, prompting Rylan's jaw to tick as he stopped before the door and took a deep breath. Are you sure you want to do this? I can take you home right now, Angel. He whispered worriedly, prompting me to nod up and down as I stepped past him and went to knock on the door. I'm ready to be done with it. I need to know the truth. I was tired of being told lie after lie. If my father really had no clue about me, I don't even know what to say. How different would my life have been if my real father were in the picture? So many thoughts came flooding through my head. Maybe I would have been a dancer, a real dancer, and maybe Papa wouldn't have had to work so hard to take care of us and had his accident. Perhaps none of these bad things that have happened in my life would have occurred. But then would I have still met Rylan? I can't wish for a different life, I know I can't, because where this one led me is where I was always meant to be, by his side. But maybe I would have been wanted and loved, not that Mama and Papa didn't love me, but by my real parents. Obviously Shayna never wanted me, but perhaps Roger Remington would have. It seemed like Bruce was somewhat excited to see me. Were those his true emotions, or all just an act? Suddenly the apartment went quiet as I heard stomping towards the door. Once it was open, Shayna's now red and swollen eyes landed on me. "Eddie, you came," she began, before realizing exactly who I was as her face quickly twisted into a snarl. "What are you doing here?" she shouted, causing Mama to rush forward and get between us. "Tilly, now isn't the time. Your sister is hurt, she might say things she doesn't mean." Mama rushed out, making Rylan scoff. "We have a few things to say ourselves. Tilly is ready to hear the full story, the true story." Rylan spoke up for me as he wrapped his arm around me protectively. "What do you mean? Mija, you have heard the story. Bruce said he never knew about me, Mama, that Shayna never told them about me. He is lying. He is just trying to gain your trust," Mama defended, glancing towards Shayna, who crossed her arms and looked away suspiciously. "I'm starting to think Bruce isn't the one lying," I said, making everyone grow quiet as Mama looked towards Shayna now. "Shayna, there isn't something you are hiding from us, is there?" she asked, causing Shayna to turn on her heel and storm into her apartment. "What does it matter? My life is ruined now. It has been since you made me keep Tilly. I didn't want her, Mama. Now look at what has happened. Eddie won't answer my calls." She began ranting as more tears flooded down her cheeks. The sharp cut of her words were like a blade piercing through me. I was once again reminded of not being wanted. Rylan was about to say something as I saw the anger ready to explode out of him when Mama seemed to erupt first. "Shayna Martinez, how could you say that about your own daughter? If you are hiding something, you better say it now, because if I find out later..." She trailed off, leaving the thread open as Rylan looked at Mama in surprise. Yeah, when Mama gets mad she can take control of a room real quick. I just... Shayna began to sputter as I stepped forward. "Just please tell me the truth and I promise to get out of your life forever." "Mija. She doesn't want that," Mama began. "Fine, if that's what it takes, I will tell you the truth." Shayna interrupted before crossing her hands in front of her chest. "After meeting Roger in high school, he ended up awakening something inside of me, something Mama always looked down on. Well, I liked getting the attention, and when I decided to mess around a little, well, Roger found out. He broke up with me, and that's when I found out I was pregnant. I tried to tell him, but his dad decided to ask for proof that you were Roger's, so I ran." She began, making Mama stare at her in shock. "Considering I was with a few other guys, I didn't want to risk losing Roger. That was until I walked in on him with another girl. He said he still wanted the baby, but he didn't want me," she stated harshly. "So I said I lied about the baby. I told him I wasn't pregnant and decided to end my pregnancy. I hated him and I hated you, but Mama found me crying and I broke down and told her. She begged for me to keep you, saying I wouldn't have to do anything. So I said I would, but it didn't mean I wanted to. I tried everything I could to get rid of you without going to a clinic, but nothing worked. I should have just run off and gotten it done myself. You have been nothing but a burden. Slap. My jaw dropped almost as widely as Shayna's as my mother's hand rested mere inches from her cheek that she had just slapped. I have never been so disgusted and disappointed with someone in my life. I am ashamed to even call you my daughter. Mama gritted through her teeth as she suddenly stepped back before swaying. Mama! I rushed out, going to catch her as I saw her face turn pale. Don't believe her, Tilly. Please don't let those things get into your head. You have been a blessing, a true blessing for me and Papa. She began to sob as I nodded and felt her arms wrap around me tightly. Why don't you take her out into the hallway? Rylan suggested while holding my lower back gently. What will you do? I asked, seeing Shayna glance between us as fear suddenly filled her. Don't worry, I won't hurt her physically, at least. Rylan stated, making me peer up at him with so much emotion and love. He wanted to make sure Shayna never hurt me again. He needed to protect me and I wanted him to. Okay, I will wait for you outside. I agreed, helping my mom stand up straighter as I looked back at Shayna. I hope you enjoy the rest of your life, Shayna. Truthfully though, I don't think you have let me be in it from the start. But I have to thank you for not succeeding in getting rid of me, because now I'm married to the man of my dreams and get to live the life you always dreamed of having. Karma doesn't get any sweeter than that. I said with a small smile, making Shayna look at me in shock as I watched Rylan's lips curl up as well. I'm not one to act like a peach, but in this instance, I think it was called for. I can honestly say Shayna deserves everything she is about to get, not just from Rylan, but from the family she has hidden me from all of these years. I have a feeling Bruce isn't going to be as gentle as my husband is. Come on Mama, let's go. I whispered, making Mama nod as she leaned into me. Mama! You can't leave me with him. I'm your daughter, not Tilly. How can you do this to me? Shayna screeched as I helped Mama out into the hallways and stopped for a moment, looking back. I watched as Shayna cowered in fear, her body stumbling backward as Rylan stepped closer to her and leaned down. What are you going to do to me? She rushed, and what I heard him say in response just as the door began to close, it actually made butterflies flood through me. I'm going to ruin your pathetic excuse of a life. To know someone loves me this much that they are willing to destroy anyone or anything that threatens to hurt me, it made me fall even more in love with this man. And maybe something is wrong with me for feeling that way, but Rylan Walters is the only person who has ever truly fought for me, and I know for a fact I would do the same for him. Rylan. 1 week later, I opened the door for Tilly, hearing the sound of soft chatter drift towards us as the aroma of food followed soon after. Of course, Bruce had to reserve a table at the most prestigious restaurant in the city. Is a Michelin star 5-course meal really necessary? I have a feeling this is something we will be having to get used to now that Bruce is in Tilly's life. Well, he said Tilly would have to get used to it. In fact, he didn't even want me to come to begin with. No way, was I going to let that happen though. And when Tilly told him about our marriage, I swear I could feel the disapproval from here. What could he have against me? I have been nothing but an angel for the most part. After finding out the truth, Tilly took a couple of days to absorb everything fully before reaching out to Bruce. Obviously he wasn't thrilled when we told him about Shayna's lies either. but I assured him I had it taken care of. I told Shayna if she ever came near Tilly again, she would lose everything. And I meant everything: job, house, car, friends, all of it. I mean, she already lost her family. You would think that would be enough, but she was more upset about her friends finding out than anything. Which showed her true colors even more. Matilda, I presume? A woman suddenly asked, making me and Tilly share a look before nodding yes. Your grandfather is waiting right over here, please follow me. She added coolly before turning and walking towards the dining area. Grandfather already, hey? He isn't messing around. I whispered to Tilly, making her scoff before nudging me playfully. Be nice. She whispered and I just gave her a big smile. I wasn't going to make any promises. I'm so tired of people trying to get between me and my wife, and if Bruce is another one, I might just lose it for real. Just for you, I will be. I bent at the waist, whispering against her as I couldn't help but drag my palm down the small of her back. Ugh, how can she look good in everything? I mean, the dress is just as conservative as the first one I saw her wear, but her body is what makes it sinful. Knowing I had her writhing beneath me not even an hour ago doesn't help either. I wanted more. I needed more. As soon as we rounded the corner, Tilly suddenly stopped in her tracks, making me almost barrel into her. What's wrong? I asked, glancing up as I realized exactly what it was. Right at that moment, not only was Bruce here but her father as well. She began, making me nod before reaching down and grabbing her hand. Is this too much too soon? I rushed, not wanting her to be overwhelmed. She has had enough surprises in her life. No, it's not. Tilly responded as Bruce and Roger glanced towards us, and then Roger stood. Wow, they look a lot alike. I mean, obviously they are father and daughter, but the face shape and mouth. Tilly was a few shades darker complexion-wise, but you could tell they were definitely related. Roger slowly rounded the table, his gaze locking onto Tilly completely as I watched his eyes gloss over. Okay, maybe I felt a little teary-eyed too, but this is the love of my life, meeting her dad for the first time. Who wouldn't be emotional? Matilda, it's so lovely to meet you, he stated deeply. I won't lie, it was a little weird that Tilly's dad was only 10 years older than me and he looked like he was in good shape too. So when he went to reach forward and pulled Tilly into a hug, that stupid Neanderthal part of my brain flooded with jealousy. Wow, you are so beautiful, he whispered, and I chanted, don't punch him in the face, over and over again until they finally separated. I know he didn't tell you I was coming, but it was a last-minute thing, Roger explained as Bruce walked up next. I saw the way they regarded Tilly with so much affection already as they quickly led her towards the table, leaving me in the dust. Thank you, Tilly whispered as Roger pulled a chair out for her. Then I saw her gaze begin to search for me as I walked over and went to grab the one next to her. Rylan, why don't you come sit beside me? Bruce suggested rather firmly. No thanks, I prefer to sit beside my wife. No chance, I am staying away from her. I pulled out the seat next to Tilly and took my place before reaching down and grabbing the bottom of her chair, pulling it close to me smoothly. Then I proceeded to wrap my arm around the back of her as she naturally leaned into my side. Yet I'm her safe space, and these guys, better realize that soon. Would you like something to drink? Some wine perhaps? Roger suddenly rushed out nervously. Um. Tilly began as I spoke for her. She isn't 21 yet. Not for a few more months. I explained as Roger nodded in understanding. But Bruce, he just glared. Okay, let's get straight to the point, I suddenly said, not wanting this dinner to be full of hostility. And what point would that be? Bruce asked, his distaste for me even more noticeable. Tilly and I got married because we love one another. There are no ulterior reasons, and I'm not some rich spoiled prick who will do nothing but cheat on her. I plan on being in Tilly's life for as long as I am alive, so if you have a problem with me, I suggest you get used to it. I spat, making Tilly stiffen for a moment before reaching under the table and grabbing my hand. Roger and Bruce just shared a look before bending down and grabbing something. Well, if you can explain these, then it will all be water under the bridge, Bruce said while flipping the first page over. Of course it was a picture of me mid-fight. I was slamming my fist into my opponent and blood was spraying from his mouth. I glanced towards Tilly, who just blinked down at the photo in surprise. I swear I saw her cheeks start to flush and I couldn't help but chuckle. She was turned on. Easy, I used to be an amateur boxer. That was more of a flex than anything. I mean, that's pretty badass, right? Okay, and this? He began, flipping the page as another picture popped up. Okay, this one wasn't good. It was a picture of me in a club with two bottle service girls dressed in bikinis as they poured liquor down my throat. It was my 23rd birthday. Okay. Yeah, I used to go to clubs. I remember hearing a few things you used to do, Mr. Remington, but you don't see me bringing the receipts, I muttered, seeing Tilly frowning at the picture now. And this one? He added, flipping the next one as my eyes widened. Of course it was me and Madison kissing. Of all the girls I dated, why did he pick Het? But maybe that's a good thing since Tilly knows about her. Can I just remind you gentlemen of one thing? I said calmly, reaching forward and grabbing the photos. All of this, I motioned to the pictures, was before her. Obviously I was trying to fill some type of void. No. It's more than that. I was trying to find that piece of me that I knew was missing, but the second I locked eyes on Tilly, everything snapped into place. So yet I was stupid before, I won't deny it, but Tilly means everything to me. And this is nothing, I said while ripping the pictures in half. I saw Tilly's gaze snap to the now shredded pieces before looking up at me in awe. We both found what we had been missing that day, Tilly added, glancing towards Bruce and Roger now. So if you want us to have any type of relationship, you will have to realize that my husband isn't going anywhere. He is my priority, she explained, making Bruce go quiet before leaning back in his chair. I swear I could have jumped up and clicked my heels on that moment. My wife just said that, about me nonetheless. Very well. We won't question it further. But if you do end up hurting her in any way, we will have you killed, Bruce added. I burst into laughter, but when I realized he wasn't laughing, I stopped. I wouldn't expect anything less, I grumbled, making Bruce laugh now as I tried not to show any form of intimidation, which was a little hard. But soon enough we went on with the meal. I watched as Tilly told Bruce and Roger about her life and even learned a few new things of my own, and when it was Roger's turn to tell his story, I swear we were all almost to tears by the end of it. I guess Roger was diagnosed with some type of rare testicular cancer when he was 20. The treatments he had to take caused infertility. After that, he never really settled down or got married because most of the women he dated wanted a family of their own someday. So him having Tilly, it's almost like a miracle. He never thought it would be possible to have children of his own. I couldn't help but lean back as I watched my wife smile and laugh. The warmth and happiness that radiated from her was enough to fill my soul. Her happiness is even greater than my own. I'm realizing that now. With everything that has happened in such a short amount of time, I can't even predict what might happen next, but I know where I want to start. I want to help Tilly fulfill one of her lifelong dreams. I realized that babies can wait for now. As willing as I am to have one, I know that Tilly still hasn't experienced much. So for now, my current goal in life is to get my wife dancing again, and when I buy Tilly her own studio, nothing can stop her. I can't wait to see how high my angel can fly. 2 months later, Jamie, Gabriella? Has anyone seen my wife? I shouted into the bustling room as multiple people shook their heads no before scurrying away. Where did she go? I frowned to myself, already feeling overwhelmed by what day today was. Son, please do try to relax. I know you are close to losing it, but we will find out about the baby's genders soon enough. Dad added before smiling widely, and I just shrugged his hand off of me. It's the fact that my wife, who is carrying those babies, is currently missing right now is what's causing me to freak out, not the unknown gender. I spat, turning to look through the foyer once more. I swear this house just gets bigger and bigger every day we spend in it. I don't know if I like that aspect because it's harder to find Gabriella when she leaves my side. Okay, maybe I tend to follow her around like a lost puppy, but now that she is even further along, I can't bear to be away from her for even a second. Hence the reason why I might be out right now. Gabriella went out to the garden. She asked me to tell you. Katrina suddenly informed me as she came walking in with a cane. It's been a month since we moved into the house, and we decided to let Katrina have her own private suite remodeled on the west wing of the house. It took her a while to come around. I still don't think I have seen her fully smile since her attempt at taking her own life, but when she is around Gabriella she tries. At least she does enough to convince Gabriella she is trying. I'm not so easily swayed. I can see the sadness that still lingers, but I have a feeling the reason for that is from something else entirely. And the fact that Grayson hasn't reached out to check on her is affecting her more than she wants to admit. I won't lie though, I think it's for the best. She needs to spend more time healing. Okay, she might be growing on me a little, plus her being here makes Gabriella really happy. Thank you. I rushed, watching as my dad went to help Katrina sit down, and I practically ran from the room. What is she doing outside all alone? Okay, maybe I should have thought to go to the garden first. She does tend to end up there most times, but usually it's when we are together. It's her favorite thing about the house. There is a large oak tree out there that Gabriella loves to sit under and read. Since the gender reveal party is starting in an hour, she should be upstairs getting ready. I ran out to the front just as Mom, Rylan, and Tilly came walking up. Oh good, you came to help give us a hand with these decorations. Rylan said cheerfully before I raced past him. Sorry, can't. I yelled, making him grumble something I didn't quite catch as I rounded the corner and went straight for the garden. Once the tree came into view, I slowed my steps, trying to even my breathing as I peeked over the small white picket fence, and that's when I saw her. Gabriella was lying on a blanket while holding butterscotch in her hands. For a moment I was rendered speechless. The way the light broke through the trees and scattered across my wife's face and body was like something out of a painting. I couldn't help but admire her beauty, the way her long black hair was draped behind her, how her clear blue eyes practically sparkled. She was gorgeous, and now that she has become even Kavya, I can never get enough. I am addicted to touching and tasting her at all times. Then there was her round swollen belly. Just knowing that a part of me was growing inside of her, that she was carrying my children, it made my heart ache. The love that I have for this woman goes so deep that it almost hurts. Because I know how much I have to lose if something ever happened to her. I can't even think about it. I wouldn't be able to survive a tragedy like that. I quietly stepped forward, keeping my gaze locked onto her face as she turned butterscotch in her hands before tracing his eyes and mouth. "Princess, is everything okay?" I asked while opening the gate slowly. "Jamie, did I lose track of time?" She rushed, her stutter practically gone now. She has been working so hard, and all of that time practicing has paid off. "No, we still have time. You should have told me you were coming out here. I would have sat with you," I said, knowing that I'm probably the clingiest of the world. But I hate being away from her. I just can't fathom it. "I didn't want to add to your stress," she admitted as I quickly got to my knees and helped her sit up. That's when I pulled her into my lap and leaned my back against the tree, getting into our usual position. I reached my arms around her, letting my palms rest on her belly as I bent my head, kissing the side of her neck. "Are you nervous?" I whispered along her flesh, watching as she shivered beneath me. Gabriella's head nodded up and down, making me smile before holding her even tighter. "Me too," I confessed, looking down as she fiddled with butterscotch a little. "Jamie, what if something bad happens? Doesn't everything seem too good to be true?" she suddenly asked, causing me to frown. "Is that why you're worried? You think something bad will happen?" I asked her, watching as her head bobbed up and down before she leaned back into me more. "I will admit things have been going pretty perfectly lately. I mean, my parents ended up getting married. They had a small ceremony at the courthouse. So they are happier than I have ever seen them, and Gabriella's dad John is living with Monica now. I'm pretty sure marriage is around the corner for them next. Rylan and Tilly have been going strong. She is even in the process of opening her own dance studio. Then there's Jolie and Alder. They found out they are having a girl a few weeks ago. They opted to do the blood test so they could get the results earlier. Alder was the impatient one in that case. So that was pretty exciting, not to mention that Alder came to Gabriella and asked if she could help him design an engagement ring for Jolie. It turned out incredible. She has even had a few more inquiries since. It's actually turning into something huge. The only person who hasn't really resolved everything is Grant, and that's because we are still trying to find out who Sammy's dad is. But overall he is beyond happy. So yet I can see how things seem a little too perfect, but when you are with your soulmate, I imagine that's how life tends to be. Listen, you have gone through so much already, so many hardships and struggles. You have been through the worst, and I know from this point on, there's nothing but happiness waiting for us. I mean, that's how the stories go, right? The princess comes and saves the cold-hearted knight, showing him what it's truly like to live, and once she defeats the dragon, well, dragons in our case. Then she whisks her knight away and they live happily ever after, right? I said, making her smile and look up at me. Jamie, I think you got that backwards. She laughed. Nope, that's how it happened in my story. The day I met you, it was like waking up from a long sleep. From the moment I first laid eyes on you, I knew you were going to be the one to save me. And was I right? I confessed, making those big blue eyes widen before she suddenly twisted in my arms and fell into me. I knew then too from the first moment. She whispered when there was suddenly a loud boom that vibrated from the house, and I kid you not, I swear I heard Rylan yell out the word as blue confetti began blowing towards us on a breeze. That's when my eyes widened as Gabriella and I looked around in awe, and then I felt the tears, hers, mine, all of it. Boys, we are having boys. She laughed, and I swear that was the most perfect thing that has ever happened to us. What better way to find out than with my wife under our tree, just the two of us. Boys. I can't wait. I guess dreams really do come true. 4 months later, Gabriella, I gazed down into my arms, feeling my lips widen into a smile as my heart swelled with so much happiness. Our sons were finally here. Not just that, but they were healthy and growing so much already. It's been 2 weeks since I had the babies and Jamie still hasn't gone back to work yet. He thinks if he leaves us he will miss out on something. Well, he did almost miss the birth, but that was completely out of his control. Of course, the one day he had to attend a meeting downtown, my water decided to break. Luckily Ray was here with me, Katrina, and he ended up driving me to the hospital. It all happened so fast, and before I knew it, I was admitted to the hospital. Jamie was an hour away, so he asked Rylan and Tilly to check on me until he could come. Rylan just about fainted when the doctors said it was already time to push. Tilly had to escort him out while Grant came in next. I swear everyone showed up, even Robert was here. But the moment I saw Teresa, I swear I felt more at ease. We had talked about her coming into the room with us, and she was ecstatic. Even Stephanie was here to help me through it. Stephanie and I have grown pretty close. She still doesn't know fully about Grant not being Sammy's real dad, but since we don't know who his father is yet, Grant wants to keep the charade up for as long as possible. Something seems to be going on with him lately though, like he has been trying to avoid Stephanie or something, and also he never lets us come to his place. I swear he has to be hiding something, I just haven't figured out what yet. Luckily when it came time to start pushing though, Jamie came bursting into the room, and I'm pretty sure he ran the whole way. I'm here, I didn't miss it, did I? He practically screamed, panicking completely as I just blinked up at him. I had never seen the man look so disheveled since I had known him. We are just starting, Gabriella is ready to push. His mom explained as I nodded and watched my husband rush to my side. I'm so sorry, please forgive me. Jamie fell to his knees, practically begging me as I just grabbed his hand. It's okay baby, you didn't miss anything. I tried to say calmly but ended up squeezing Jamie's hand hard as a huge contraction hit. That seemed to snap him out of it, and before I knew it, calm, cool, and collected Jamie was back. He began coaching me through the pain as everyone got into position. It took 2 hours, 2 exhausting hours to push the babies out. Our big boy Keegan was the first to arrive. He had thick black hair and came out wailing. I couldn't believe how loudly he cried. It made both Jamie and I burst into tears the moment we heard it. He is perfect, oh God, Gabriella, look how perfect he is. Jamie gushed, staring down at Keegan as they laid him on my chest. I couldn't do anything but sob, feeling so exhausted already but knowing I had one more left. Then came Kaiden. He was the exact opposite of Keegan. He was quiet and smaller, his hair was black as well, but he seemed so much like his dad already. I looked down at my two sons as the doctor began stitching me up, and I saw the look in Jamie's eyes, one that almost had me bawling. He was already so in love with them, I could tell just by that one look alone. I am so proud of you, princess. Look at what you did. Look at how beautiful you made our sons. He breathed, causing a lump to form in my throat as Jamie began kissing me all over. So yeah, that was why he hasn't gone back to work yet. Here, let me take him for a little. Katrina whispered, going to reach for Keegan as I looked up at her warmly. She has been such a huge help since the babies were born. I think she is really starting to come around now. We still don't talk about what happened, and I make sure to never bring up Grayson because I know she still struggles with hearing his name. I'm not exactly sure what's happening with that. Grant won't tell me, but I was surprised Grayson gave up so easily. Truthfully, I thought he loved her. Why don't you go take a break while they sleep? She suggested, making me nod as I glanced toward a sleeping Kaiden in the bassinet beside me. I will check on Jamie, I whispered, prompting Katrina to nod once before gazing down at Keegan lovingly. I felt a small pang in my chest, hoping that maybe one day Katrina would have something like this, because truthfully I can see she would make a great mom. She just doesn't seem to believe it. Even though her skin has healed a lot, she still has a lot of scars, but now her hair has grown to her shoulders, so I know that has helped with her confidence. I just wish she could see how beautiful she is. Maybe one day. I walked out into the hallway, hearing my phone ping as I quickly pulled it out before gazing down at the screen. I couldn't help but smile. It was a picture of Jolie and Alder at the beach. They decided to go on a small trip before the baby came, and right on her finger was the ring I helped Alder design. I was so happy for my friend. She is due any week now, and I know they are excited to welcome their little one. Alder's family has come down to visit a few times since meeting Jolie, and I know they are just as excited for the baby as we are now. I have even met Alder's sister-in-law, and her husband asked if I could help design her ring too, so I kind of have been working on my own jewelry line with Jamie's help. I never thought my old hobby would turn into something so huge. I remember selling earrings online just to save up, and how I would dream about getting my own place one day. Now look at me. I'm married with twins and live in my dream house. Old me never would have believed it, especially since I can speak now. Actually speak, and it was all thanks to Jamie. Okay, maybe not all him, it was all thanks to this new family I was given. Jolie and Tilly are like sisters to me now. And Rylan, he is like the brother I never had. Even Nolan has really come around. Well, after he admitted to us that he is gay, yet, it was a surprise at first. Especially to his mom, but she embraced him. Maybe a little too much. She even threw a rainbow-themed party and invited male strippers to come. Jamie practically dragged me out of there once he noticed that Nolan thought it was hilarious though. Rylan did too, until one of the guys began hitting on his wife. Tilly has started her own dance studio and has been offering her classes to kids who can't afford lessons. She has even been recognized by some of the top charity events and has been given a grant to help buy supplies for her students. It's incredible, and I know Rylan is so proud of her, but I also see the way he looks at her when she is holding one of the twins, and I have a feeling Rylan won't be able to wait much longer. Just call it a hunch. I rounded the corner and heard Jamie talking on the phone. That's when I slipped inside before sneaking towards his desk as he looked out the window, but before I could pounce, he was on me in seconds. "Princess, were you trying to sneak up on me?" he asked, clearly amused. "Just wanted to make sure you weren't working too hard," I replied playfully, realizing he totally just hung up on whoever he was talking to. "I was just finishing up one thing. How are our sons doing?" he asked, pulling me into his lap more before wrapping his arms around my waist. "Sleeping, Katrina is keeping an eye on them for us," I whispered, leaning forward as I brushed my lips against his. "I see, so that means I get you all to myself," he mumbled, kissing me back before pulling away and burying his face in the crook of my neck. Obviously I was still recovering from the delivery, but I craved Jamie's touch now more than ever. "I am trying to be good. I can't believe I get to have you for the rest of my life. How did I get so lucky?" he added, snuggling into me deeper as I felt butterflies flood through me. "Well, I mean, technically our year is coming up," I added playfully, teasing Jamie as he pulled back before frowning down at me. "Don't even joke like that," he mumbled, diving back to my throat before squeezing me tighter. "Besides, we didn't even sign the contract." "Wait, we didn't? Are you sure?" I asked, swearing we did at some point. "I mean, we talked about it and stuff. I remember signing medical stuff." "Nope, my dad never pushed it after the first dinner we had with him, so Mrs. Sinclair, this marriage was driven by love and love only," he added, making me smile to myself as his words settled in. "Okay, I will let him have this one, even though this whole thing started because of the contract." He is right. I think I fell in love with Jamie since the first moment our eyes met, and I knew for a fact that I loved him on our wedding day, so he isn't wrong. "Yeah, you are right," I whispered, feeling Jamie start to pepper kisses all along my throat and neck as a burst of giggles exploded from my lips. "Wait, say it again. I like hearing those words come from you," he teased, making me roll my eyes. "You are right, Mr. Sinclair. Our marriage is solely based on love. And making the most adorable babies, don't forget that," Jamie mumbled, causing me to laugh yet again. How could I when those adorable babies keep me up all night? "Well, if not them, then it would have been me," Jamie added before wriggling his eyebrows and kissing me once again. And I couldn't help but feel like this truly is a dream come true. Jamie Sinclair was my Prince Charming, and this life, the life we have built together, this is my happily ever after, and I can't wait to live it every single day. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.